Welcome to Business News and Other Shit. I'm your host, Amr. Thank you so much for tuning into a show that's been called the perfect listen for busy fifth graders with ADD. I'm an entrepreneur and an aspiring stand-up comedian, improviser, and my favorite job, stay-at-home dad. In a previous life, I graduated from the University of Chicago, the Harvard of the Midwest, with an AB in economics. And after that, for 10 long years, I worked as an executive director for JP Morgan. Sold my soul. You may be asking why someone in their right mind with a wife and 2 kids would give up such a prestigious and profitable position to become a lowly comedian. And to that, I would say, it's way more fun, and maybe don't be such a jerk about it. Our goal with the show is to entertain you with funny stories, jokes, and one-liners about investing and business and money, and hopefully make you a stronger and more financially secure person. Basically, we want to help you increase the size of your backup stash. Backup stash being that secret stash of money that keeps you afloat after you tell that horrible boss to get the hell out of here, or you want to travel around Southeast Asia for the next 6 months. Join us every Thursday. We tell some funny stories, jokes, have a good old time. And you know what? Maybe learn a few important things. Welcome to Business News and Other Shit. I'm your host, Amr Abdullah. Episode 27. What's up, everyone listening? We have a different kind of show today. First of all, our main man, Chris Bradhead, the producer, is in Utah. He's not here. Rest in peace. Yes.
He's not coming back.
Maybe it's more like ski in peace.
Or, yeah, hopefully.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
And that voice is Yahya, our hallucinating Yahya.
Yeah, what's
What's up, man? How you doing, brother?
What is it?
What is it?
Yeah, boy.
Thank you for being here, bro.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, what you all don't know is Yahya, some of you know, is an emergency room technician. He works overnight shifts at the University of Chicago. So Yahya sees a lot. And in fact, in the past week, Yahya's seen a lot. We'll talk about that in a minute. Kareem Bazara.
Yeah.
And the Arabic, Bazara.
Yes.
What's up, brother?
What's up, man? How are you?
Good. Our interim podcast producer.
I'm trying my best.
Thanks for being here, brother.
Thank you.
Kareem is doing a great job filling in for Chris, so much so that we should just dump Chris in a dumpster.
I'll try to cut this part out so Chris doesn't hate me.
Yes, good point.
Sounds like a Breaking Bad episode when they're trying to get rid of Walter White and make Jesse be the main meth cook.
Pour a bunch of like chemical something to disintegrate a body. Ugh. Yeah. We should not do that to Chris anytime soon, but in a few more episodes maybe.
Sounds good.
And the voice you heard, guys, was Anthony. In Italian, Bonato. In English, Bonazzo.
Very good.
What's up, man?
How you doing, buddy?
Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
I like Anthony a lot.
It'd be funny if you just creepily stared at me for the next 10 minutes. You're like, I like Anthony a lot.
We're 1 minute in.
He's still staring at Anthony, by the way.
Yeah. Oh, man. Thank you for being here. Seriously, Anthony, I appreciate you coming out, man. We will
for the Mexican hot chocolate.
Enjoy it, brother.
I didn't even know there was a thing, but
Me neither.
This is my version of diversity. Mexican hot chocolate. So let's plug you right away. Anthony, I met you at the Comedy Bar.
No, it was before that.
Oh, you're right. It was a nonprofit.
That was with the show
event.
with Uzzer, wasn't it? Or the Uzzer put on, but didn't do anything. He didn't perform.
He had told me to book you.
Okay.
Yeah, and so I reached out to you, and I was like, hey.
What was that for? That was like reading in schools or something?
Kaleidoscope nonprofit.
Okay.
Yeah, they're a big nonprofit that helps foster kids in general. That particular one was back to school supplies.
That was at I.O.
Yes, you did awesome there.
Thank you.
We had a little game show. We had a little fun with that. Yeah, that was where I met you the first time. You're right. And then I saw you at Comedy Bar where you host an open mic on Thursday nights.
Yeah, and then it became the regular run-ins.
Pleasure.
Just the one time.
Pleasure. In addition, let's plug you right away, man, so we get this out of the way. You guys can follow, and you will as you have fun with Anthony on this podcast, I hope. You can follow Anthony on Twitter, Bonazzo31, Bonazzo 31, or on Instagram, Comedian Trainer. I think if you also just type in Anthony Bonazzo, it comes up on Instagram.
My friend actually wrote a rap. That's where the name came from.
Comedian Trainer?
Yeah.
Do you remember like the hook?
Improv class. We were supposed to give each other a Christmas gift, and he wrote a rap song. He stood up in front of the whole class And it was like the greatest Christmas gift ever because he's like, comedian trainer. He like freestyled for half of it. He's like, comedian trainer. He puts in 8 hours a day on the floor. He goes up in mics and he kicks in the door. Comedian trainer. And I was like, oh, good.
All right,
The
okay.
best thing ever. Yeah.
This guy sounds like a real good friend.
Oh, yeah. Well,
What
he
a
moved
nice
to New
guy.
York. I haven't seen him
Oh,
since.
fuck him. He's dead to us now.
Just like Chris.
But he's been immortalized on my Instagram page, so it's all good.
Yeah, exactly. Comedian trainer. There you go. I like it. Cool. Well, yeah, so you can follow him there on IG, Comedian Trainer. And most importantly, if you guys want to see Anthony live in person, he will be having a show tomorrow.
Yeah.
Cocktails and Humor is the name of the show. It's at a restaurant called CH Distillery, which a lot of people have heard of. It's in the West Loop, 564 West Randolph. And you will be performing there, doing stand-up comedy at 7 p.m. sharpo.
Yep. I'm headlining the show, so you get to see 25 minutes of me.
Wow.
If you haven't heard enough by
That's
the end
pretty
of this
good.
podcast.
25 minutes.
So tomorrow, Tuesday, or
Right, 'cause,
tomorrow
yeah,
before
you're
this
right.
comes out.
Oh, you're right. Oh, sorry, that's
So
useless.
if you're
This thing comes
listening
out on
to this-
Monday.
The show was great, you guys. You missed it. You really should have been there.
You're right. It's Saturday, February 2nd. This doesn't come out till February 4th.
I have another show. I'll think of one as we're going.
Thank
Right
you.
now, I'm blanking though.
Thank you.
Oh, I think it's this week is undergrad.
Oh, yeah, on Fridays.
Thursday.
Is it Thursday?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Thursday
literally-
at the Playground Theater.
Literally right after a comedy bar open mic, I'm gonna go over there.
Perfect.
And then I don't know what's happening that weekend.
Undergrad, underground, right?
Undergrad.
Underground, undergrad.
Man, I'm butchering this. Sorry,
Oh, good,
guys, if
brother.
you're listening. I'll look it up.
Yeah. The most important thing you need to know is it's at 10 p.m. at the Playground Theater. Anthony will be performing stand-up comedy.
Undergrad, underground.
There you go. Undergrad, underground.
I think I was just saying.
Check it out.
something.
I think tickets are $5, so it's a nice,
Oh,
it's a
nice.
good show. It's a funny show. I've been there. It's a
Oh,
great
nice.
show. I love it. All right, with that, guys, let's get started. So, first of all, a little disclaimer, everyone. My father passed away last week. Not this past Wednesday. The Wednesday before. Wednesday, January 23rd. And what was so powerful about the moment when I got the call was he was rushed to the University of Chicago's ER. And who, lo and behold, was there or had just finished his shift? Yeah, my cousin.
Yep.
So thank God it was, it was a difficult situation, very sad, very difficult, to this point, very confusing, making sense of it all. But having Yahya there in that moment to manage the whole situation, gently carry me and my family through the whole moment was so beneficial. So thank you for being there, bro.
I'm glad I could be there with you guys.
Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah.
Yeah. Alhamdulillah in Arabic means thank God.
Yeah.
So yeah, so this show is going to be dedicated to my dad and to Anthony's dad, who we also lost a few years ago, if I'm not
Yeah,
mistaken.
3 years.
3 years. Now, Kareem and Yahya, we haven't lost your fathers. Thankfully, they're with us, and we're just dedicating it to your dads and all dads as well. Why not, right?
I'm sure they'd appreciate that.
I think so.
Yeah.
Look, guys, I didn't know what to do. I'm to this point, I'm nervous about doing this show. Comedy investing show. The last thing I feel like doing is being funny right now. You know what I mean? It's just a difficult couple weeks. And the show must go on. I think my dad would want me to do the show, and if you guys knew my dad at all, he'd be like, "Go do the show." Which reminds me, I gotta share one quick
Quit
story.
crying. Loser.
You little
Go
bitch.
do the show.
You're a little bitch, Amir. Go do your show, okay? My spirit is with God.
I am now on Godcast.
No podcast, Godcast. That's good. I like that. But no, like one thing about my dad, I love my dad. Like my dad wanted me to be rich and successful, and I followed in a lot of ways in his footsteps. I went to be an investment banker. I'm so hot right now.
Yeah, it's pretty warm in this room.
Not a good
took my vest
situation.
off.
Sorry, guys.
Smart man. Your fault, Kareem. Yeah, so let's jump into about my dad a little bit, and then we'll get into the markets a little bit. But I was doing something really creepy after my dad passed away. I was Facebook creeping him. He had passed.
That's a lot better than what I thought.
Yeah.
I don't even know what I was thinking you meant by that, but it's lot less creepy
You know.
than that. You're like, so this is how I handle grief.
Let me tell you
I
guys,
was doing
right?
some creepy things. This is the big reveal.
So I was Facebook creeping him, and the first thing I found out, my dad loves Facebook so much, he's got 3 different Facebook accounts. I don't know why. And he's active on all 3. I used to see him post on all 3. And so...
Alias.
Same name?
No, same name. It's just, he loves Facebook. Love my dad, man.
Yeah, that's what happens when you forget your password and you remember your password.
You can just set up an entire new account every time you forget your password.
I love you, Dad. And on one of the freaking... On one of his handles... he had, there was a post I had put up about this podcast. It was what the government shutdown is costing us. Something like, $100 billion a month. It was just some stupid number that, in my opinion, Trump is responsible for. And my dad saw the post and he shared it. And he shared it with all his friends, And then I'm like, a tear came to my eye. I started crying. I'm like, Dad. Like he's kind of, I think he's been like a little sad that I left Wall Street making lots of money to like figure out entertainment and comedy.
My son is failure.
My son. Failure.
My son used to have BMW. Now he take Uber. He drive Uber.
He drive Uber. Not even Uber. Uber Bull. So and then I scroll down and I see. So that was at like 11 p.m. at night. I scroll down and at 10 p.m. at night, he had shared it an hour before. I'm like, Dad shared it twice.
For each account?
No, same account. I know, right? I would have thought.
Shares.
And then I scroll down again, and 4 hours before at like 6 p.m., he shared it again. I'm like, Dad shared this thing 3 times. I scroll down, 10 in the morning, he shared it again. I scroll down, 3:54 a.m., Dad shared it. He must have woken up and shared it.
Jeez,
that's
on
the
a
reason he
share
woke up.
schedule.
I don't. Yeah.
Sleep sharing.
He's like the Muslim, Middle Eastern senior citizen equivalent of Buffer. Like he just keeps like
5 times a day.
5 times a day. Yeah, Buffer is this whatever. So and then I keep scrolling for 3 days straight. In the few days, in 3 days before he passed away, for a few days he was just sharing my thing, the same clip over and over and over. And on one of them. So first of all, God bless you, Dad. Like I love you, Dad. Like I love you that you're like, fuck it. He didn't go to Wall Street. He left that and he's doing this thing. Good for you, son. Like that's how I interpret that. It's like he wants to see me successful. Then I scroll down and I notice one of them has a comment. I'm like, did Dad comment? And sure enough, my dad writes. I'm talking about the government shutdown in the clip. It's a video clip of me talking about the government shutdown, complaining about Trump. And my dad writes in the comments something like, "My son, how about the stocks? How are they doing?" And I was like, and apparently this happened so quickly. I had responded to it. This is a few days before he passed. May he rest in peace. And I had responded saying, Dad, they're great. Keep investing every day! Exclamation point! Exclamation point! I don't even remember doing that. I have a vague recollection of doing that. But then, I was
So
Facebook.
both of you were like sleep Facebooking, basically.
3 days
He's
before
sharing, you're commenting, and neither one of you have any
awareness.
recollection of it.
Exactly. So anyway, that was a beautiful thing I just came across in checking out, Facebook creeping my dad and see what he put up there. So Anthony, one reason I invited you on, man, was because 6-8 weeks before my dad passed, around the time of the holidays, you put a post. Maybe it was a little more. Maybe it was 12 weeks, but it was some kind of anniversary or something.
It was probably because it was the holiday.
Holiday?
Because he died in August. So
Okay, so it must have been the holiday.
it might have been the holiday.
If
I just think of stuff. Oh, you know what it was? My girlfriend had gotten that photo done by the Serbian artist of me and him, and that was like
that's it.
Like the best gift ever. So
Yeah.
that's what
That's
it
beautiful.
was. So it was around the holiday. So it was
She gave
both.
you that? Okay.
Yeah, it was both.
That's cool. And so I read what you wrote, brother, and I can't remember the words, okay? I cannot. However, it set me off day after day after day. I didn't really know you that well back then. I was just starting to get to know you, man. Like, this is a couple months ago. But I was like, who is this dude? And this is a beautiful post. And so it touched my heart, and it didn't leave my heart. And so since that day, since I read your post, and the spirit and the sentiment of it, was how much you loved your dad, and how the pain hasn't gone away.
Oh yeah.
You made a point of like, hey, it's not effing gone. The
Right.
pain is there.
There's a great. Did you see? Not that it's a great movie that I'm plugging, but the movie. I think it was Trainwreck with Amy Schumer.
Yes. Oh
Is
wait,
that Amy Schumer?
yeah.
Yeah.
No, is that her? That might be her special. Or is there a movie?
The movie.
Oh yeah,
I think
no,
it is.
there's a
Trainwreck.
movie. Yeah, I haven't seen.
There's
Trainwreck.
such a great line in that movie. I don't think I finished it. I think I fell asleep watching it. Not that I'm saying anything bad about Amy Schumer, but I guess like she goes like somebody. Oh, it's when her dad dies in the movie, and then she comes back to work and she's like still a mess, and the boss says like, "You're not over it? I'm over it." Kind of like, and that's just how people think that because something tragic and big and like of big magnitude happened to you, and that because they see you in normal social interactions again, that somehow like you've moved on, and in their head they're like, well, time for him to move on. I moved on.
Right,
like
right.
I liked his sad posts when he posted about it when it happened, but time to get over it. But people
Let's
don't realize
move on,
like with
right.
a parent, it's different, and it's not really something you can explain until you've been affected by it. So I think that scene is so telling because it's like that's the summarization of how people don't know how to handle it. Like you'll have like I had strangers reaching out to me with more like kind words than I did like close friends because people that probably
Have
got
experienced
identified it, and
Exactly.
experienced it. So I just try to pay that forward now when I see someone who's also going through that. Sometimes people are very receptive. You were very receptive. Sometimes people are just like,
Leave me alone.
thanks, and it's like a one word, like or whatever.
Yeah.
But that's the thing. People don't, and people won't. Nobody will, and that's that's why I kind of embrace that too, because I feel like it's such a difficult thing. It's such a painful thing that you now live in this like other population of people that understand how painful it is. So when you can gather with those people, there's definitely like a camaraderie amongst that. It's like with comics. Like comics are weirdos. We think dark stuff is funny, and then when you like go to like a show or an open mic, it's like, oh, thank God I can say this joke because the comics will find it funny.
Right.
And
right.
it's almost like immediately there's a bond and like an identification with that person who's experienced it. You don't have to explain things to them.
Yep, they get
kind of just get it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, that you had sent me a private note, and I completely identified with it right away. And some of the instruction you gave me was, "Hey, Amr, for me the pain is not going away, but what I've experienced is I've began to collect memories, especially quickly after my father passed, and those memories have acted as kind of a wall around that pain. So the pain's there, it's in the center, it's like the nerve center, but then I've buffered that pain with a wall around it with beautiful memories. And so the pain's there, it's doing its thing, but I've got something to press back against that pain, which is all these beautiful memories. I'm going to record those before they become a distant memory that you can't capture anymore. And I've been doing that. I've been sharing stories. I've been writing it down. I've got an Evernote that literally is Baba's memories.
And by the way,
Baba's dad.
Evernote now charges.
I know. I was
What's up
thinking
with that.
I was thinking about.
so mad at that.
Wait.
Can't
There's
give
still
it
a free.
for
There's still a free version.
No, I had all my stuff in there, and I was going to a show, and I was trying to refer to some of my jokes for a set, and it was like, you need to upgrade to the $9.99 a month, and I'm like, well, I just need to look at the set. What are you doing?
Really?
You
I
can't
haven't
give it
gotten
for
that yet.
free for 6 years, and then all of a sudden be like, by the way, all those jokes are ours.
They have.
I mean, I guess they can do whatever they want,
Right.
But they still suck for doing that.
Yeah,
no
there's-
warning. No, like, hey, we've seen you've been using Evernote since you started stand-up. We're going to start charging.
There's some software developer at Evernote right now who's at like in Houston somewhere. He's like going through all of Anthony's jokes at some open mic, being like, "Do these work?"
He's like, 2008. So how about Kanye West, guys? He's doing my Kanye joke. What's he doing?
You'll see him one day have a Netflix special with all
He's successful and I'm not.
with your jokes.
Carlos Mencia, my Evernote.
Yeah, right, Carlos.
Jokes.
No, but you need to double check, man, because I did not get that. I've been asked by Evernote a bunch of times, "Hey, would you like to upgrade to the premium to unlock this and that?" They're telling you, no, you
I
can't
couldn't
get
open
in.
anything.
Oh
I was
shit!
like freaking out because I was going to a show and I just did a set and I wanted to use like a lot of the same jokes because it was like it worked, and it wouldn't even let me do it.
Wow. So wait, so thank you. So you to this day you can't get in?
No, I got in. I succumbed to the monthly charge.
Dude, I have not gotten that. You should double check.
I'm gonna try to double check and
Yeah.
see what
Maybe
I
it's
can
because you had so many notes saved, you can
Yeah.
only save a certain amount.
No, dude, I've got like 2,000-3,000.
Oh, never mind.
Yeah. Okay, so
do. Yeah, right
so
over
yeah, so thank you for that, Anthony. We connected on that, and that's why I want to dedicate this to dads. And I just wanted to say about my own dad as it pertains to business. My dad, if I can think of one word to describe my dad, it's warrior. My dad will always be a warrior. Every day for 48 years since he came to this country, 1971, Baltimore, Maryland, he's just been at it 7 days a week. Takes a vacation here and there, and I mean here and there, like once every year or two. But the man just is proud of his work. He loves his work, and he passed away. May he rest in peace. Working, he was upstairs in his kitchen in his restaurant, Cedars in Hyde Park, and he was preparing for the day to feed people. And that was how my dad, as a Palestinian man, what he loved to do was feed people. Thousands and thousands and thousands. I can't tell you how many people came to the funeral. I went to cooking school because your dad. I ate from your dad's hands. Your dad catered out of this. Your dad did this. Your dad. It's like, wow. And so even for some of his eulogy stuff, people were coming up and just saying about my dad. He bought me my first car. He did this. And I was like, amazing. Amazing. You know, like the big shift for me has been like, you know, when he was alive, I'd be like, I love you, Dad, but you know, you're so backwards in this thing. The way you drive, the way you run the restaurant, the way you run your kitchen, the way you talk to your employees, and I bitch and complain about like things about my dad, you know. And I think a lot of it was frankly me trying to be at my dad's level, me trying to reach what my dad's done. You know, I think I was being competitive with my dad. And you know, the day he passed, it just all got real. I was like, fuck, I was seeing it half glass empty. There's so much more to my dad that I didn't realize.
Right.
One of my favorite stories is I remember coming to the restaurant once in my later years, and we were downstairs in the back of the restaurant, and at the back door, not the front door where customers come in, the back door where we get deliveries, there was a knock on the door. I'm like, what's that? Is it delivery? And I opened the door. I'm like, who's that? It was a homeless guy. I'm like, what's up? He's like, yeah, Suki here? I'm like, Bubba, this dude, what's going on? And my dad's like, oh, yeah, He leans over to like a shelf, grabs a whole bunch of like, I think chicken wings or something, and just, here you go. Yeah. I'm like, you got some kind of like stash for homeless people that you're giving? He's like, shut up. You know? I was like, okay.
He's dealing them wings.
Yeah, I wish I'd have known about this service. Getting out of shows and everything's closed, just knock on your dad's door. Be like, hey, man, let me get some of them wings.
He's just giving his homeless people free food, man. I was like, God bless you, Dad. You know, I love you. So there's just things I didn't see about my dad. And so you know, his passing has like shifted my perspective dramatically. I'm not going to claim that like, oh, my dad's like an angel. There's nothing wrong with him. No, it's bullshit. Like, we're human. But what I will claim is like a lot of my half glass empties melted away. And I'm like, wait. I don't think I had the full picture. I think I was busy doing some other bullshit in trying to be like my dad or reach what my dad's reached or be competitive with my dad. And so anyway, that's one thing I wanted to share about my experience with my dad and this whole past 2 weeks.
And not to sound negative, when you were saying about the building of the wall of memories, that doesn't take it away.
Take what away? The pain? Yeah, no.
'Cause that's what I've learned is that like, I forget, I'll have to look it up and try to find it. It was something I read because some people kept sending me books after my dad died, like that I want to read about this, and I'm like, I don't want to read about grieving and dying parents like right now. I just want to like either be in the moment when I'm dealing with it, or be alone. Like I didn't want to be constantly, you know, that's my thing. I'm gonna read about dead people, you know.
Yeah.
And one of the things I did read that actually resonated with me was said something like, you got to kind of think of it as like a catastrophic like thing, like an earthquake, or like a something that's like cut you severely, and that you'll never actually like heal that hole over, but you'll build things around it so that it's always going to be like it's permanent. It's like a permanent scar.
Yeah,
but
right.
You'll build the things around it.
Right.
But not to keep this all dark, so like I will. You talking.
We're doing a good job of that.
You talking had ignited things that I remembered that this girl had said to me after my dad died. Just the stupid things people say because people don't know how to handle it. People they don't know what to say, so they don't say anything, which makes it worse. Yeah, then you're like, this guy sucks.
Right.
And the people that did say stuff, you remember forever because you're like, that person reached out to me, and like you remember the day, the person, the things that they said, the things they didn't say. Like everything's like etched in your head forever. And I remember this girl was just like, yeah, I know exactly what you're going through. And I was like, oh my God, like your dad died? And she's like, no, but when David Bowie died, I was so sad that day. And I didn't even know what to say. It was such a dumb comment that I don't even think anything came out of my mouth. I think like a sound came out. I went, like it was almost like a belch. I was like, because I was like, she's a nice girl. I don't want to tear into her right now. But did you really just compare my dying dad to a man you've never met that died like a rock legend dying? Like what? It's just amazing that people think that they...
It was her spiritual father.
Yeah.
David Bowie was her spiritual father.
And then somebody, a comic was trying to console me, and they sent me just a GIF on my Facebook Messenger of a monkey breaking a laptop, like on repeat. It was like... And like, I think that was their way of being like, I reached out to Benazzo, but he didn't respond to my message. That prick. I tried to lend it a helping ear, but
I was there for you, brother.
yeah, I was there for him, man. I sent him the monkey gift. That's
he didn't like my
that
monkey.
gets everybody.
Yeah. You should have sent him like a monkey taking the same kind of computer and bashing it over another monkey's head. You know what I mean? That's what I think of you right now.
But you gotta take care of his Facebook pages because
My dad's?
Yeah, because this will prevent you some maybe you were saying earlier like creepy stuff.
Yeah.
So there was a couple years ago a comic in Chicago died, and it was really sad. He was really young, really nice guy, and I was going to bed late one night, and I liked a post, and then I was like, all right, I gotta go to bed. And I think I had headphones on too, just like this, and I was just like I take the headphones off, and all of a sudden I see like the thumbs up go across the screen.
Whoa.
And it's the comic
who passed
likes this post too. And I was like, what? Like what's like I froze in my chair. I was I couldn't move. I was like, what is happening right now?
Someone's taking over.
So I messaged his sister. I'm like, hey, I'm not trying to upset you or like re-dig any old memories, but I was going to bed last night. I liked a post, and your brother liked the same post. She's like, this is so bizarre. She's like, I have no idea what's happening. Let me contact Facebook.
Right.
So she ended up messaging me back. She basically says that Facebook messaged her and said something like, if you don't contact Facebook that the person has passed away, they create like an in memorandum type page where it will just randomly like posts based on the algorithm of posts that it liked while they were alive.
Oh, really?
That is the creepiest thing.
Yeah, that's
Why
hello.
does Facebook
Yeah.
do that?
So she told me that, and I felt better that, like, you know, some schmuck other comic wasn't like tapping into
that it wasn't,
the account. Or
there wasn't
like
your buddy doing it from the other side.
Right. Well, that too, but somebody wasn't messing with the thing.
Right.
But I was also actually really mad because he hadn't been liking any of my posts at all. So it's like here's this dead comic who didn't like my posts when he was alive, and now that he's dead, even the algorithm is not liking my posts. Like so.
Yeah. So you know, as it pertains to business, I thought I'd just mention, you know, one of the biggest things I got from my dad was work ethic. You know, my dad, like I think I told you guys, my dad, you know, is extremely, extremely committed to his work for 48 years. Every day, just every day going
How old
at
was
it.
he?
73 when he passed.
I think it's that generation.
Yeah.
79.
So your dad was 79?
Yeah. My grandparents moved here from Italy.
Right.
They had 6 kids.
Yep.
Basically, they shared like one bedroom.
Yep.
And he just like worked his way up from the bottom up and like started a business and then had 8 kids of his own. So
Do they make men like that
insane.
anymore? You know what I mean? Like,
That's the silent generation, right? Before the baby boomers.
oh, they
I
call
don't
it
know
the
what they're
silent?
I
called.
think so.
Maybe.
They just definitely were like nose to the grind.
Yeah. They're called the gangster, you know, generation. That's what they're called. I mean, it's unbelievable. But you know, so that's when I thought about this podcast. I'm like, you know, my dad, he would be like, go do the podcast. Go do shit. Go do shit. My dad was a GSD, get shit done. That's what my dad was. A GSD, he just gets shit done. And so I just honor him for that, and I love him for that, and I take that gift with me on this journey. And so yeah, so you know, this podcast may not be for everyone, and talking about dad, and we've had a couple laughs, but it's tough for me to come back, and I think it's hard to not come back and not talk about it.
Right.
So that's
Good
kind of
for
what
you.
I'm at.
I didn't do stand up for like a month after it happened.
Is that right?
I had no desire.
I have no desire either.
In fact, when I came back, I started telling jokes about stuff that happened, like just being the whole process, and it didn't feel like it helped me. So I just stopped telling them. Like, I remember the flight in the morning that I took was like just so awkward because you're like, I just packed a bag, but with like on a one, because I was going home anyway for his birthday party in 2 weeks. So I just switched the flight, and they would only basically give me the same rate if I left like in a day. But I was like, well, the funeral's going to be then. So they were like, well, then we have to charge you $800. And I had to pay this $800 fee. It was like on a plane. It was like 5 a.m. I didn't know what was going on. You're half out of it.
Yeah, discombobulated.
Yeah. And like, I remember like just thinking this lady, the stewardess came over to me at the flight, and I always get a tomato juice every time I fly. I have no idea why. I just always do. And she's like, can I get you something to drink? And I was like, can I just get a tomato juice? And she's like, oh, we only have Diet Coke. And I just started like bursting out crying. And I'm thinking this lady probably thinks I'm like this little millennial bitch. Is like, I can't have his tomato juice. So I'm just going to bitch. It's going to go into a little cry fest
Aren't
now.
you over it? Because I'm over
Yeah,
it.
exactly. Oh my God, this guy in aisle 5. Those
Yeah.
are the things that I tried to talk about, but nothing ever.
It wasn't working. Yeah.
It never helped.
I went last night to an open mic, and I sat there for 2 hours waiting for my turn. And I'm like, it's 2.5 hours. I'm like, this is taking forever, and I don't want to be here.
Right.
I wrote down a bunch of jokes. I did a whole bunch of writing during that 2 hours, but I just left. I was like, I just don't feel like doing it. So yeah, so I think he'd want me to do this. So I'm happy I'm doing it. And yeah, with that, we'll dedicate this podcast to our fathers and to all fathers out there, and how they loom large in our psyche and in our hearts, and how they're so important. And I don't want to let that go. And moving on. So let's talk about markets a little bit. It's February 1st today. We just had 31 days of January in 2019. It was, for stocks, the best performance of stocks for a January in 30 years. Stocks went bananas in January. They did really, really well. And this is after a really shitty fourth quarter, a really shitty October, November, December. They were going down fast because everyone was worried. And to this point, I'm worried that our economy and the global economy are fragile, are teetering a little bit.
Fragile in Italian.
Is that right?
No. It's from Christmas Story. It's from a Christmas Story.
Oh, fragile.
Fragile must be Italian.
Oh, I didn't heard that. That's good. My uncle, who's Palestinian, moved to Italy in the 70s to go to medical school. Never came back to the Middle East. So he shacked up there. He married a wonderful Italian woman named Carmencita, and his kids are half Palestinian, half Italian, and they come visit here all the time. We go and visit Rome all the time. He's a doctor over in Rome, and so by seeing them growing up a whole lot, I just began to do like an Italian bonazza, because they're just so expressive when they talk. No, basta. And I wasn't even saying pasta. I was saying basta. Basta in Italian. Do you know what that means? It means stop. Like enough. Basta. So that basically they're always like stop, enough,
They
stop.
were yelling, pasta. Basta.
I was like, Mom, give them some pasta. I don't know.
No more pasta. Basta.
Basta with the pasta.
That's definitely what an Arab would do.
Pasta, pasta.
An Arab Italian,
What?
a P&B, they would be.
Oh yeah, P and B.
Pasta.
Yeah, what Anthony doesn't know is there's no P, the letter P in Arabic. There's no P. So whenever Arabs have to say something with a
So
P,
what do you say when you have to pee?
you have to go. They have the letter B, so what they say is, "I have to go B."
I have to go pee.
Or if they want to
I
drink a
have to go B
Pepsi,
and
they say,
find myself.
give me a Bibsy. So same with V's. There's no V in Arabic. So instead of like
How do you
7
say
Up,
elephant?
no elephant. There's no elephant's okay. It's a F, but like 7 Up, they say siphon. So they make it an F.
Sven.
Siphon.
So it's Sven up.
Sven.
It's
Yeah.
a German drink now.
Sven Up.
Sven up.
So I have no idea. We were talking about markets, weren't we, at some point?
Yeah, January was the
January
best.
was a great month. Yeah, so 32 years. 1987 was the last time we had this good of a January. We were collapsing in the last quarter of 2018, and now we're just zooming up. Sounds great, right? All's well in the world of stocks, right? Yeah, no, I don't think so. I would say that the global economy, global growth is what matters most these days. Our economies are also interconnected way more than they used to be. that if China is starting to go down, everyone's starting to go down. If the U.S. is starting to go down, everyone's starting to go down. If Germany and France are starting to go down, or Britain with Brexit, everyone's starting to go down. And that's what's happening. China has had their slowest, their economy is slowing down the most in 30 years. So while we're having a great stock market right now, their economy is slowing down quite a bit. Germany's already been shrinking. They're in recession. Brexit, Britain, we all know what's going on. So some of the biggest economies in the world are on the brink of shrinking a decent chunk. That's a huge deal. And our stock market is actually right now happy and positive. And the main reason that's happening is because of the Federal Reserve Bank. A dude named Jerome Powell, who runs that bank, and all the Fed governors have basically decided to stop raising interest rates. What a lot of people don't know, Anthony, is how important interest rates are to our economy. They're like literally the oil that debt is literally the oil that runs our economic engine. You know what I mean? And so because our economy runs on so much debt and borrowing money, the moment you raise the cost of borrowing, like if it costs 1% or 2%, increasing it to 2% has a huge impact on the economy. And so the Fed recently, last year, they're like, hey, our economy's starting to overheat. We're growing way too strong. Let's slow things down. And they started raising interest rates to slow down the economy. That's kind of their mechanism, their tool to slow down the economy and kind of land the airplane softly is to raise interest rates. Then Trump started bitching and moaning about the Fed, saying, stop raising interest rates. And, they kind of listened. And they're like, oh, yeah, okay, maybe we're going to stop raising interest rates. Now, there's other reasons they're now stopping. They're halting their interest rate rise. But nevertheless, we have a pretty much very, very strong economy. We've been growing our economy for over a decade. This expansion has been really powerful. And now the Fed has decided they're going to slow down interest rates. Now, I don't actually agree with it. I think they should. It's okay to force our economy into a mini recession. That's not a bad thing. Instead of continuing to try and grow the shit out of the economy. Because what happens when you try and grow the shit out of the economy, bubbles happen. You start to do shit like you did in 2008. Just everyone keeps buying houses, or everyone keeps borrowing money for this or borrowing money for that. So, my fear is that that's what's happening, is that we're setting ourselves up for some kind of a bubble if one has not already started to inflate in some way.
Quick question. So when you say mini recession, what exactly do you mean? So, is it for a certain amount of time?
Typically, recessions don't go too long in the United States. Historically, they go for 2 quarters, 3 quarters, for a year, 2 years max. That we don't just sit and our economy doesn't shrink for just decades at a time. No, we shrink for a year or so at a time.
So I guess my question to you is when you say we should force our economy kind of into a mini recession, how long do you think ideally that would be?
Yeah, I mean, 6 months to a year.
Okay. Gotcha.
That's just what I think. I think you just gotta kind of let the steam out of the friggin' kettle or engine sometimes.
Because people can't be trusted.
Hell no, not Americans. I mean, have you seen some of the shit we've done?
Right.
I don't trust us. So markets are doing really well. They're really excited about the Federal Reserve not raising interest rates. And my attitude is the following. Keep investing. I always have this attitude, Anthony, of how important it is to invest. Most people don't get this. They don't understand how the world works. They don't understand how our government works. They don't understand the fact that the rich are getting richer because they're able to pull a lot of the levers in Washington. Okay? The way things work is people with money are able to buy a lot of shit that they want. And I don't mean TVs and iPhones. I mean power. They're able to buy decisions and laws. It can buy a law. You can basically buy a law. It probably costs you, I don't know, $1 million.
That's why it's called a bylaw.
Yeah, the condo association, you just got to pay off your condo something. What would be the head of the condo association? So yeah, I mean that's what a lot of wealthy people do, and so it's not illegal. It's called lobbying. It's okay. We can do it if we have a good intention and we want to influence Washington in a good way. We can round up our money and go and lobby and try and convince senators and congressmen to change a law. But what happens is people lobby for stupid shit like the tax cut a year ago. Not a single person in the middle class has benefited from that. It's all been really, really rich people that get that benefit. You know what I mean?
think part of the problem is too is that a lot of people they're either trying and struggling to make ends meet that they focus on the small returns like the iPhone, the big screen TV, the car, whatever, that they're not able to understand and grasp. A lot of people, even I have clients that are millionaires that don't understand the stock market. They just have people investing their money for them.
Yep.
So it's not transparent and it's not easy language, I don't think.
Right.
So I think people just stay out of it. They're just like, well, I don't understand
I'm
it.
good at it, right.
I'm just going to put it in a 401k so when I retire,
Right.
I can do X, Y, Z.
And honestly, that's good that they do that. I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, but I think that if people were more educated, they would realize the power that they do have to make, have that influence or to understand it and manipulate it to their benefit where they could make money, and invest and understand the stock market. Because let's be honest, there's only probably a very small chunk of the population that really
Actually gets it?
grasps the
Yeah.
stock market. That's traders, people that work on
Yep.
Wall Street,
Wall Street,
or
exactly.
people who are really rich
Well-
and don't understand it, but they have people that they're paying to make to help them understand it. When their bottom line is just, how come my money's not going up?
Right. That's all they care about.
It's like a different language that only a few people really get.
That's right. So here's where I don't fully agree that if they knew a lot more in depth about the markets, they would potentially make more money. They might, but they probably
They make money. They would do something. I think people would do something productive. I just don't think people understand it.
Yeah, they
That
don't.
keeps people away.
I think that's right.
Which sucks because everything you said about power and law,
Yes.
that's where we really, like, when politicians are lobbying and they're like, oh, vote for Democrat or whatever, and like, it's all so surface level. It's like WWE entertainment. They're just saying
Yes.
those things.
Yes.
But behind closed doors,
Way
the stuff that they're doing is affecting you on a level that you probably can't even comprehend. And then the people that are the self-proposed woke people are saying that they do grasp the financial decisions that are being made or the political decisions. They really don't.
Right.
And, the people that are in power of these parties, it's just this perpetuation of an unhappy situation for everybody else.
Yes.
So that's where it gets murky because then people start talking about, well, don't vote for a third party because that's just going to put Trump back off in office. But like, I can sympathize with those people because I understand that like they do see that there's a problem and they do want to see a change. And then people will fight that and be like, no, we need to just get him out of office and just get anybody else in. But like, look how many times we've gotten somebody else in and it's never really fixed. I think
Doesn't
there's
make
just a
change.
problem from the infrastructure of the way the whole political system is rigged.
You got it.
And nobody gets that.
You got it.
Because
You
they
nailed it.
can't see the forest for the trees, so then they just keep fighting their party, and then the party keeps getting in. And even if it's Trump's party, I'm sure there's people in Washington that are backing some of these decisions that on the Democratic side that they don't publicize.
Correct.
And then it's just
Those
whose
might be
pockets
things.
are going to get deepened, and that's the problem. Is everybody's looking to get their pockets deepened. And it's never our pockets. We're like the
we're the-
catfish bottom feeder. We get the scraps of whatever
Yes.
decision they make.
Yes.
And that's the problem is that we keep ending up in that hole. And it's not just Trump. Trump was just the accumulation of time and neglect on Americans' clocks. That while they were staring at their iPhone, this clock was happening over this ticking time bomb. Boom, accumulated. So no one should be surprised that
Right.
that happened.
Right.
I mean, it's like we're living in a friggin'. We are living in The Apprentice, the show. Like the whole world is people were voting a president based on that alone.
Yep.
It's like the movie Network. If you ever watched the movie Network,
Yeah.
Prophecy. If you have,
Oh wait, no, I was thinking of social.
If anybody listening has never seen The Network, watch. It's actually just called Network.
What's the
Sorry.
movie about Facebook? Social.
That's called The Social Network.
The Social Network.
This came out in the 70s. This is called Network.
Oh,
it's
no,
just
I've
basically
never
a
seen
prophetic vision into where we are right now
Wow.
and how people get elected president. I mean, the people are talking about electing The Rock is thinking about running for office.
Yeah, Rock,
It's like,
Oprah.
Come on now.
It's crazy. So Schwarzenegger, right? So okay, let's zoom out. My big thing I want to say is, it doesn't. It's okay if a person does not understand how the markets work. Okay, what you do need to understand is that there's structures in place to make sure stock market investors are always supported in some way. Meaning, the government is set up in a way where if the stock market starts to tank, everyone's going to do everything in their power in DC to get that thing ratcheting up again. That's in my interest. If I'm an investor, that's in your interest and your interest and everyone's interest. So the thing is, people are afraid to touch the stock market or put a penny in it because they're like, oh, I don't understand it.
It's too volatile.
It's too volatile. I don't get it. I don't know it. No. The rule I always give on this podcast is 60-20-20 SSS. 60% of your money before it hits your account should go to safety. Your food, your shelter, your clothes. 20% should go to savings. Put it straight into the S&P 500. SPY is the ticker. You just have your money go straight to Stash or Robinhood, these apps where you can invest on a trading platform. It's even free to invest. There's no transaction fee. So if you make $1,000 a week, $200 each week just goes into SPY. And then 20% I say is splurge. So 60-20-20. Just splurge on whatever you want, whether it's like Sam Prickett likes to say, whiskey and cigarettes, or whether it's whatever your thing is, go do it. You know what I mean? 20% of that splurge. But that 20% savings, especially if you start out early, our stock market over the last 100 years, every 7 years, that money doubles. If you put in 10 grand today, in 7 years, it's 20 grand. In 14 years, it's 40 grand. In 20 years, 2039, that 10 grand would be 80 grand. It's like free money. You know what I mean? And it's because our government is doing everything they can to prop up that stock market at all times. And so so that's the big thing I'm trying to say here is keep putting in that 20%. However, I love how I do my jazz hands here. I have no idea where that came from. I feel so passionate about this. However, what we do have on our hands here is a slowing economy, a slowing global economy. It's no longer supported by tax cuts that Trump did. Those things are like drugs. You just get high for a day or two. That's what a tax cut is.
It's a fix.
It's a quick fix. And we're no longer supported by huge corporate profits because everyone's slowing down globally. Apple just reported earnings. First time in a decade, their holiday sales sucked. So things are slowing down, all right? Corporate profits were not booming the way we were. So we have this stock market that's doing well, but everything's slowing down. So if a person's got a lot of money, a lot of powder dry, don't invest it right now. Hang on to that. Wait for the market to tank at some point. But no matter what, you always got to keep plugging in 20% of your pay into the market. I was doing that since I was 20 years old. It's like the 401k idea. I had it automatically going in, and then I had more than that going in, even above and beyond the 401k. I kind of added in more, and it's really paid off for me. It's been invested now for like 18 years. And indeed, it's more than doubled, well over doubled. So it's probably upwards of 8x, 8 times. I mean, I don't think I hit it that well, but close to it. So so that's the big theme of this segment is market's doing great. Don't get caught up in the fact that market's doing so great. Keep powder dry, but keep investing your 20%.
I got a question for you.
Yo.
Because I was actually about to implement that rule the other day.
Nice.
And like, I was like, okay, here's my paycheck. I'm going to put 20% of this month's directly into the SPY.
Nice.
But then I kept thinking, like, I feel like this is going to tank soon. Maybe I should wait till that happens and then invest. But I don't know. So that kind of
Do you remember the metaphor?
From doing that.
Do you remember the metaphor of
the watch recession never recesses? That one
there's that. No, but there's another one. There's a better one, which is running into what appears to be a burning building.
Yeah. Right?
Like, who's fucking dumb enough to run into what appears to be a burning building? And that's what I'm saying is the 20% is run into what appears to be a burning building, knowing that you're going to be okay. You've got your gear, you've got your oxygen tank, you've got your mask, you've got your fireman, whatever.
It's not enough to actually get burned.
Into the mic. Say it again.
It's not enough to actually get burned. It's enough where you feel like you've contributed, but you're not losing anything if it tanks.
Gotcha.
I mean, you're losing, but you're not like, honey, we got to sit down. I lost everything. You know.
And if you play the long game, I'm telling you,
But that's your approach is the kind of like the mid to, what is it? There's like different classifications. Like there's the high risk, conservative, and then mid risk. So that's like the mid risk approach, I would say. It's not like super conservative. It's not super high risk. Like certain people would not do the 60-20-20. They would probably do like, you know, I don't know,
a bigger percentage,
50 50. You know?
Oh, they put a lot more?
Yeah.
That's way more risky. I see.
Yeah.
From that perspective. Okay. Well, so...
Which is like, I mean, I don't understand how you would do that.
No,
from
hold
a
on.
stress level alone.
There's two different things we're talking about. What you're talking about is from an aggressive perspective. Yeah, some people will go 50-50. I'm gonna put, but they're talking about is 50% in stocks, 50% in bonds. That's sometimes what they say. But I'm talking about something different. I'm talking about percent of income.
Right.
You know, so if you make $1,000 a week,
Right, you're
I'm
just
saying
divvying it up.
Yeah, I'm saying 20%.
They could do that too. They could do 50%. They're going to keep for themselves for X, Y, Z. And
Yes.
50% is going into the stock market.
Yeah,
Which is pretty risky too.
And what I'm saying is, yeah, like this is not the time to be putting 50% in the stock. Yeah. Most people don't put 50% of their income. I mean, actually, the wealthy do, but a lot of people don't put 50%. But the bottom line is the 20% number, in my opinion, should always be going in, no matter what year it is, no matter what's happening with the market. Now, on days where the market is tanking and it's down like 50%, 60%, chicken with his head cut off, kind of running around attitude, that's when you want to be greedy. Warren Buffett has this great saying of, you want to be greedy when everyone's scared. And you want to be scared when everyone's greedy. Right. You know? And he's basically saying you want to have nerves of steel. Keep money ready for when everything goes down and everyone's running for the hills. You want to be like, this is my time to invest.
Here's my fear. I keep, because like, I feel like, so I guess the question is, can the stock market grow indefinitely?
All right, now you're thinking more largely and philosophically, which is a great question. No, we're going to be like the Romans and the Persians and the Incans, or the Incas, and the Egyptians. We're going to crash. We're already on that path. There's too many billionaires, and this is our next segment. We should probably move into it. Mm-hmm. There's too many billionaires in our economy. Like there's too much. They're indulging so much, and we're seeing classic symptoms of inequality, where like 90% of people like are living, you know, hand to mouth. Like they just have enough to pay. And then there's these small. What was the stat we talked about last time? I think it's not the 1%, the 0.1%. Not the 1%, the 0.1% owns 90% of wealth in the United States. Right? That means the rest of us, 99.9, we own 10%. Like, come on, that's ridiculous. You know what I mean? So that inequality shows our economy is not set up correctly. And this goes back to the other point, which is our democracy is the structure of it is not set up in a way where it can be fair. It's structurally questionable.
Really a true democracy. It's
Correct.
like surface level. We feel like we have a voice and we have a vote, but in the reality of it is, I mean, maybe I'm just a pessimist, but that's the way I look at our government, the way our government and our system is.
I don't think you're a pessimist. If it was working, the evidence would be that the money would be, well, not the money, but like the power would be more with the people. But the reality is we know so many laws are getting created that don't serve the people. Right. So like they got to ask the question, like, why would that law get passed if it didn't serve the majority of people? So I think that's my point. So anyway, bigger philosophically speaking, no, the stock market may not go up forever. But if we're going the way of the Romans one day, let's say 50 years from now, like we've got way bigger problems to think about. I think we need to invest believing and having faith that everything's going to be okay. And if it's not okay, I'm going to have to reassess in that moment. But the information you have today is the way things operate. Washington's going to do everything it can, as long as it has the power, to keep that stock market going up.
Gotcha. So I guess where I'm at right now is, given all that in mind, like I feel like we're more towards a top point or like a higher point.
We're at the end of the cycle. Yep.
Exactly. And exactly, like you said, end of the cycle. Therefore, I'm feeling like, I know we've talked about this many times, that the recession is going to come soon. I'm kind of waiting. At least this is how I'm feeling. Like I want to wait until that happens and then put my money in.
Yeah.
But I guess your rule is put 20% in regardless. Wait until when that time comes, then put more in.
Yep. Okay. Yeah. You don't. In Australia right now, they have an expansion that's been going on for 25 years. Nice. So if I could be totally wrong.
Yeah.
The way Trump and the federal, they could all be doing funny games that will keep the stock market going up for 25 years. And what they're doing is setting us up for a huge failure like in 2008. I don't know. But do you want to miss the next 15 years?
I see what you're saying.
No, okay. You don't. We don't know what's going to happen. You know what I mean? So you got to keep doing the 20%. Now, if we do tank, that's when you're like, ooh, let me increase it to 60s, 80%. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? If you got powder dry.
Okay.
I have a question. it's kind of a stupid question, but what does recession literally mean, and what does it mean for regular people? Because I feel like we talk about recession a lot, but what does it literally mean is going to happen when a recession comes, whether it's big or small? Or
It's a great question. It's not a stupid question. So technically, so recession in general means, I think if you think about Earth, and there's like a ditch, it recessed there, right? Or if you think about like your
Like a
teeth,
dip,
I guess,
yeah.
like a dip, right? So okay, so that's what it literally means. So when it comes to the economy, it literally means we okay, right now I think our economy produces $20 trillion worth of goods and services every year. Right? The American economy produces 20 trillion. The year before it produced 19 trillion. The year before it produced 18 trillion. So we might be adding like 1 trillion each year in goods and services, the value of those things. But there are some years where shit goes wrong or something happens and we have a recession. Instead of going from 18 to 19 to 20, one year it might go 18, 19, 20, 19, 18, 7. We start shrinking. So we're actually producing less goods and services. There's less landscapers getting hired. There's less iPhones getting manufactured, so on and so forth. And people are just buying less shit. That's a recession. What does that mean? Oh, well, since people are buying less shit, Apple's going to lay off a bunch of people. Oh, that's what it means. So it means I might actually lose my job. So that's kind of what a recession means. Is and technically speaking, it's 2 straight quarters of shrinkage. Yeah, you can't just have one. They won't call one recession. They won't call one quarter a recession. It'll be 2 consecutive quarters, one after the next. That's a recession. Make sense?
so if it's ever level, is that like nothing? Like if it was like 20,000 or
20 million, 20 billion, or
20
trillion.
or like 20, 20, 20,
Yeah,
like 18, 20, 22. Like, does that mean it just?
it's flat. It's not recessing and it's not growing. It's not shrinking. It's not expanding.
Okay.
We're just flat. That's not great actually. You want to always be growing for like with inflation and this is where it gets a little more complicated, but in general you want to have 2 to 3% growth every year for a developed economy like ours.
Such an interesting way to look at it, that like the government or the people behind the curtain, so to speak, are constantly always trying to prop up the stock market,
Yep.
right? Keep it safe.
Yep.
Same thing with our body, like our human body, like structurally, our body, consciously or subconsciously, is always trying to find a way to keep our spine protected and like working in an effective manner to not injure itself.
Right.
So this is an interesting parallel to look at it that way.
Yeah.
So that's why I always laugh when I watch people that are like lobbying for their candidacy and they're like, and it's time to finally give a break for the middle class.
Yeah.
And everybody uproars. And then that person gets elected and nothing happens. And we're
Right.
like, yeah, but it's still better than so-and-so.
Right.
It's like the proof is in the pudding. Like, are we happy? You know, are we running a functioning economy? Do we have, because then people got health care. And then that one little nugget that they got was enough
Yeah.
to satisfy, like, we have healthcare. I have
Yeah,
healthcare.
we got that,
Can
right.
you imagine like the field of vastness of things we could have and should have,
Right.
and
Yo, I've lived
still
in
don't
Canada
still
for-
don't have.
I lived in Canada for 2 years. They got a lot of shit there,
Right.
man. I mean, I can get into it,
Yeah,
but
people don't get it because they don't know what they don't know. They don't
Right.
know what they don't have. You know, so
Exactly.
when they don't have
Exactly.
it, it's not a. It's, and then we just settle. We basically have settled for a really
Yes.
awful girlfriend for the last 12 years, and now we have the craziest girlfriend in
it's
the
a
world.
toxic
right?
relationship.
Yeah.
Yeah, you'll find us with that girlfriend in like a Walmart parking lot at 3 a.m. She's got one heel on. I've got piss on my pants.
That's what's happening in America
That's
right
our
now.
that's America.
Like, I told you to stay away from her. Be like, no, trust me, what? She's just joking around.
She's
They're
good for
like,
me. She's good.
Build a wall. Like, what? What is she doing?
You need to put up
I thought she
walls.
was joking about that idea. She told me that at night.
This is where you do need to put up emotional walls as
Yeah,
far as much as
exactly.
you can.
Yeah, build that wall around your heart.
Yeah, exactly. The last thing I'll say about all this is Elizabeth Warren is now stumping for president. She's now announced she's running for president, and she's proposing a pretty big tax on the wealthy, something we haven't seen before.
This is why the wealthy will call her too far left.
Yeah,
That's
of
the
course.
terminology, because that's the same thing people call
Socialist.
Bernie. Yeah, they call
Yeah.
Bernie too far left. So that's where it's going to suck, is that you're going to lose. You're going to lose a lot of votes.
Yep.
That
Democrats
way,
will be
because people
scared,
with
yeah.
money don't want that. They
Of
don't
course.
want to lose money.
Even the
Which then in itself leads us back to 4 more years of Trump.
exactly.
So
it
we're
may.
just constantly in this
It's
battle.
dangerous. But here's her proposal, right? 2%. If you have 50, if you make 50 million, no wait, if you have $50 million or more, there'll be a 2% tax on your 50 million bucks each year. All right. If you have a billion or more, it'll be 3% tax on that billion. All right. So on the 50 million, you'll have to pay. Let's see, 2% of 50 will be $1 million. So you have to pay $1 million in tax on your 50 million. And on the 3% of a billion, boy, what's 3% of a billion? I don't know.
A lot of money.
So 5% of 10% of a billion is 100 million. 30 million.
Yeah.
$30 million. Now, just for comparison's sake, Trump's presidency, to win president, he spent $400 million on his campaign. All right. So if 10 billionaires got together, there's a lot more than 10 billionaires in America, but if 10 billionaires got together and they put $400 million up to have someone run against Elizabeth Warren, they'd probably be able to shut her down and have the Republican win. Like, it doesn't take much to buy an election in America. And so the moment she proposes 3% tax on the wealthy, they'll just be like, okay, now it makes sense for us to support someone who's not going to tax us. That's how you got to question our democracy. Like, you can literally buy.
I want an election now, mommy. It's basically what it is.
Yeah.
Well, the other thing, not to totally go off on two different topics, but it was interesting that you were saying that because there was, and it was in passing. So if anybody listens to this nugget, I don't have all the information, but you should definitely Google it because I thought it was interesting. They were talking about how like we're in the sub-zero temperatures, and there's a group of people in Chicago that are working to solve Chicago's homeless problem, and they said that we need to have less seasonal sympathy and more year-round sympathy. And there was some sort of movement where they were trying to get like not even a lot of like support from the city, and that they were saying that in return with this housing project that would potentially house all these people that are without homes, it was going to be like $150 million in revenue for the city, but the city was against it.
It would be 100. Wait, the city would actually make money by helping homeless people.
Yeah, so I don't know all
I've
the
heard this
details.
before.
I
I've
just
heard
know
this
that I
before.
was driving and I heard, because that like got my antenna up to be like, yeah, we need to be more sympathetic year round, not just seasonally
When it's super
sympathetic
cold.
when it's super
Right.
cold. There's people are dealing with issues. I mean, I live in Uptown. Tent City was right underneath the Wilson
Yep.
Viaduct, and they booted them out of
Yeah.
there. And my client was like, well, good, they don't deserve to be down there. And I'm thinking in my head, I'm like, where's our sympathy? Like,
Right.
He's like, they a lot of them want to be down there, and
Right.
I'm like, I can guarantee you, a lot of them don't want to be down there. Like,
Right.
we need to find that middle ground of like
Right.
sympathy to be like, they're mentally ill, they may have been in a predicament where it was out of their
And just to be
control.
cure, you're saying that some kind of plan might
There was a
have been floated,
plan that basically
where
the
city would
city's-
actually make money.
Yeah, the city's like rejecting the idea. It's
crazy.
So I should have
So
written it
inefficient.
down. And what the
I've heard of
person's
this
name
before.
was.
I've heard of this before. There are plans out there where they could make money, where the city of Chicago or some other city in the United States can make money by. The reason they look at it this way, Anthony, I've heard, is they're actually spending a lot of money unaware. The city of Chicago spends a lot of money on homeless people, and they're not aware of it. For example, homeless people will go into like Cook County Hospital and get services done. That costs the city a lot of money. Or they go into like there's other losses like crime. Homeless people will get desperate, and so they'll need to like do something illegal, and so that'll cost businesses money. That'll cost tax. And so if you just have a plan to help people who are in need year round, yeah, the plan might cost you $25 million, but it'll save you 150 in all sorts of other losses. And unfortunately, it's hard to pass that stuff in the city council.
Well, going full circle, that's like whenever I get into like arguments with people, and maybe I'm just a dreamer, but like when people are like, oh, my candidate really does care. No matter what way you slice it, we should not be living in a world where one person is living under a bridge and another person has an iPhone. Like the discrepancy is so huge.
Too broad. Way
It
too
shouldn't be that way.
It's way too
It should be, okay, maybe you have a yacht and I've got a skiff.
Yes, exactly.
We both are able to own both
Seriously.
things, but maybe yours is a little bit. The discrepancy is so what, and that's the world we should be really trying to like aim to get
Yep.
to. Is that everybody has a home, everybody can eat. Our basic, it's like this basic. This is like fundamental economics 101. Our basic, living necessities should be met, and we don't even have that.
how would a super rich person who's got billions of dollars truly be prosperous? How could he or she truly be prosperous if so many millions are living under a viaduct or even in a different country, so unhappy, and our earth is like falling apart, and they start to revolt? What is your billions worth when the economy's falling apart? We have a major issue. Everyone's revolting. We're in the middle of some sort of acrimonious war. Your money's worthless in a major war. Sorry. What are you going to run to? Iceland? I don't know. Your money's probably worthless in Iceland too. So we're all truly prosperous when people are taken care of, not just you. All right, so we're running out of time here. We talked about our dads. We talked about markets. We talked about Elizabeth Warren and her plan and how basically it's dead in the water because billionaires are going to be incentivized to just give Trump $400 million so they don't have to pay her big tax. It's just a no-brainer. Bezos himself could just pay one of these guys $400 million to run a campaign against Warren,
he can run.
Yeah, or Amazon becomes president.
President
Amazon Prime is now your. It's actually a transformer robot. It's just called Amazon Prime. It's just a big package that opens up.
It's vice president.
I'm your leader.
They send you the ballots in the mail. They send you the ballots in the mail. They take it back. 2 days.
Vice president would be like Twitter or something. So we talked about some of that and talked about our. I wanted to also talk about, and I'll just touch on this for a moment. China and Russia. So we'll just touch on this. We won't be able to get into it. Maybe we'll talk about it next week. But it's basically becoming very clear to our country's leaders, like our defense chiefs, the people who kind of try and protect us, that China and Russia are now working together in things like cyber warfare, espionage, and what they call online disinformation or misinformation campaigns.
We're screwed.
Totally. Like the two huge arch enemies of ours are now working together. China and Russia typically do not work together. They don't like each other very much. They got beef. But when they both have a similar enemy, when we've really pissed off both people pretty well, they're like, let's get together and fuck these guys. And so we're dealing with that shit right now. Like what was said in the last few days was, they're finding major coordination between those two countries, online warfare, and they're successfully getting into a lot of our systems. They said that they found some stuff where they might successfully be able to take down natural gas for weeks at a time, just through what they can access from China and Russia. So that would hugely hurt our economy, scare the shit out of us. Yeah. But that's what we're dealing with here. And I think that's not good for the stock market, not good for our economy. That's going to spook out investors, spook us out as individuals. We're going to stop buying shit. The 2020 election is about to get double hacked, with all this shit with China and Russia doing their thing. All sorts of disruptions are possible with this. And I think we need to Trump just having a bad relationship with China and starting this really terrible trade war the way he's doing it, and us having a terrible relationship with Russia as well. It's just not good. You want to keep your friends close, but your enemies closer. That's literally true. And by starting shit with them, you're not keeping your enemies closer. You're actually telling them F you in their face. So one worry that's new in my mind that I didn't have a week ago is this collaboration between China and Russia, the two biggest, enemies we have, and how we have done nothing to keep them close. And in fact, what we've been doing is actually keeping them further and further apart.
This is when Trump and Russia has to come in the clutch.
Yeah, you'd hope so, right? I mean, that the way he's been cultivating that relationship is not the way I'm thinking in my own mind, right? They've got him by the balls because they've got a lot of shit on him. He's trying to do business in Russia in illegal ways. Him being friendly with Russia is not the diplomatic way of keeping your enemy close. He's keeping him close through shitty way, illegitimate reasons. That's why he's keeping him close. So that's to say, there's this new threat in my mind on the horizon for our economy. There could be disruptions to natural gas. There could be disruptions to our electricity. There could be disruptions to the internet. The work they're doing. I think legit like shooting wars are becoming less of a problem, and like cyber wars are becoming the legit problem. And by Trump pissing off all our NATO allies like France, Britain, Canada, yeah, he's pissing everyone off. Like they're like, F you, America. And then China and Russia are about to like kick our, attack us. We got no one. Like, we have no one on our side. So like,
I just feel like it'll never be like an attack like that. I feel like it'll just be something that'll screw us from an economic standpoint.
yeah,
I feel like all war going forward is never going to be like
shooting wars.
It's like let's screw these guys with this
Yeah,
new thing that we'll do to their bank reserves.
exactly. Exactly. So yeah, so that's been my fear with China and Russia. We touched on that. We are gonna wrap up this episode of business news and other shit. Once again, you guys can see Anthony Bonazzo at Undergrad. I like that. Underground, Thursday, 10 p.m., $5. That's at the Playground Theater on the north side in Lakeview. Yahya, Kareem, my millennial gangsters,
Yeah.
That's us.
thank you for being here
Thanks for having us, man.
and making this happen. Dad, may you rest in peace. May God forgive all your sins and mistakes and give you an easy path to heaven.
Amen.
Amen. Peace out, y'all. Thank you for being here, Anthony.
Thank you.
See you guys. Disclaimer. I do not provide personal investment advice, and I am not a qualified licensed investment advisor. I am an amateur investor. All information found here, including any ideas, opinions, views, predictions, forecasts, commentaries, suggestions, or stock picks expressed or implied herein are for informational, entertainment, or educational purposes only and should not be construed as personal investment advice. While the information provided is believed to be accurate, it may include errors or inaccuracies. I will not and cannot be held liable for any actions you take as a result of anything you read, hear, or see here. Conduct your own due diligence, consult a licensed financial advisor or broker before making any and all investment decisions. Any investments, trades, speculations, or decisions made on the basis of any information found on this show, expressed or implied herein, are committed at your own risk, financial or otherwise. Business news and other shit, hereafter known as BNOS, reflects my own views, ideas, and opinions. It is not a production of my employer, nor is it affiliated with any broker-dealer or registered investment advisor. No representations or warranties are made with respect to the accuracy or completeness of the content of this entire show, including any links to other sites. The links provided are maintained by their respective organizations, and they are solely responsible for their content. All information presented here is provided as is, without warranty of any kind, expressed or implied. From time to time, I may include affiliate links and advertisements on BNOS that result in my receiving a payment should a visitor click on the link or sign up to a service as per established in their practice. Readers are entirely responsible for any actions they take as a result of reading or clicking on links on the site and are urged to read the small print. Sound fair enough? Then please subscribe to BNOS. It's free via RSS or email.